exploring the bizarre. Your e-ticket ride into the world of the paranormal. Strap yourself in as we traverse the universe exploring the unexplained. UFOs, ghosts, lost worlds, cryptozoology, as well as other dimensions. It's time to take back the night. Now, your electrifying hosts of Exploring the Bizarre, Timothy Beckley and Tim Swartz.
Oh, Merry Christmas. Oh my God. Rudolph, get off my ass. Rudolph, I'm stuck inside the chimney upside down. There go all your presents. There go all those Cartiers and Swiss watches and Timexes. Timexes. I'll keep one of those. Hey, Merry Christmas, everybody. Hey, Merry Christmas. Hey, this is Tim Beckley, in case you hadn't guessed. Because who can start out a show like me? Nobody. And I'm here with my co-host Tim Swartz, who's I understand you spent the whole afternoon shoveling snow.
Yeah, right. No snow. We're cleaning up from the straight line winds we had yesterday.
Oh boy, some weather here. Yeah. And also with us tonight, we're having actually 4 hosts, guests, stars, people that we all love and know. Tina Marie, who of course is our engineer and producer and is the host of her own program, Restricted Airspace, and she's out there in Las Vegas.
I know, and you guys got warmer weather than we do. What the heck is that? I moved to the desert to get away from the cold.
All right,
it's just not right, is it?
Spin that roulette wheel and let's see what comes up. Here's what's coming up. It's Diane Tessman.
Yay.
And where are you, Diane?
Where am I? I'm in outer space.
Well,
I might be in North Iowa, but I'm also in outer space.
Well, I say the reception is great for being in outer space, Diane.
Yes, advanced technology.
It is, yeah.
Well, when the technology works, it works. When it doesn't, I get cut off. When it doesn't, I get cut off the air. Well, we are going to have ourselves a grand Christmas Eve. You know, I didn't want to sit here by myself this evening. My friends are all over the country, all over the world. And, of course, a lot of them are married. They have their own families, and they're opening their presents and all. So I wanted to share Christmas Eve with my best friends. So we're going to do something different tonight. Tina, why don't you tell us what we're going to do?
Well, let me tell you, Tim. Tim, gave me this schedule of everybody he wants to pull onto the show here. It's kind of like the best of. And he sent me the list over earlier in the week, and I went, okay, you know what? I guess I'm not having wine during the show.
but
no eggnog for me.
Yeah.
But anyways, we have a star-studded lineup. I mean, you have like the who's who of the paranormal coming on tonight, and then right after this show, we have our special 'Twas the Night Before Christmas that all of our hosts participated in, including staff here at KCOR. And that's going to air every 3 hours, and we go commercial-free right after your show. Commercial-free, Christmas music, turn us on, leave us on all day. It's just kind of a great, your show's a great lead-in into kind of what we're doing, this whole family atmosphere, and you've definitely got a family atmosphere going tonight.
We're family? Ooh, demented family. Indeed,
yeah, well, you're the crazy uncle that sits at the end of the table. We get that.
Well, I'm the Krampus of your dreams or whatever. Yeah. I suppose. But yeah, we've even got Bruce coming on from China, who's going to tell us about dragons. I guess dragons are reindeer or something. Bruce has actually seen dragons, and not even in China. He's married to a Chinese lady. He moved over there, but he saw dragons here, like along, I think, Park Avenue or something. I mean, real dragons. We're not talking about the Chinese New Year's or something like that. So we're going to find out all about that in a little while. Now, Diane, you're the
Yes.
one here who is, the abductee or the contactee or the experiencer.
Yes.
Um, uh, what do you celebrate Christmas Day any different than we might?
Well, that's a good question. I I believe there is an umbrella of spirituality over every religion that is actually the same umbrella, which is from the Sufis to the Buddhists to the New Agers, a wonder of the universe, a God which doesn't just sit on a cloud, but is a part of all of our heads and our minds and out there in the stars. So I celebrate it in a Mother Earth, Father Sky kind of way. Huh?
And
Yes, Tim.
yeah, oh, okay. And
Okay.
what would that be? Now we do know that you do have any number of animals on your property. You have
Yes.
actually an animal sanctuary. I mean, that's what I would call it. And
Yes.
you're also out there protecting the wildlife, which is something I'm sure some of your shotgun-toting neighbors are not too happy
Ugh.
about, especially during hunting season. But does that fit in with your um,
Yes, that's what I'm
new
talking about.
age? Yeah, yeah.
Yes, protecting the deer and the wildlife during shotgun season when deer are mowed down as if they had no intelligence and no feelings. That's part of my celebration of Christmas. I protect them. I've got a refuge here, and I do all sorts of tricky little things like going out with corn and sunflower seeds and put water in their heated bucket. I have to run an electric wire to the barn to do that. And part of my celebration is keeping life going, consciousness. Deer are actually very mystical and so gentle and intelligent. And it's to me, it's barbaric the hunting that goes on. And part of my celebration is the fact that two of my 3 point deers, which means that the bucks develop a point every season that they're alive every year. So I have two 3 point bucks on my land, beautiful big antlers on them. And part of my celebration is that both of my bucks made it through hunting season.
Ooh.
Yay! Yay!
Yeah, well, let's
And
hear it
they're
for the
here on
bucks.
my
Yeah, yeah.
land, safe and
And
sound.
and I'm the third buck who made it through hunting season.
Oh, honey.
Hey, now Tim, you're out in Indiana.
Yes, southern Indiana. That's correct.
Yeah, and the weather has been humid. Did you guys get any tornadoes?
Uh, no. Now, north of us,
Yeah.
in the Indianapolis area, which is in central Indiana, they actually had an F1 tornado, which is the smallest on the scale. But this time of year in December, in Indiana, it doesn't take much. You just you get a little warm air coming up from down south, and then almost immediately you get, say, like a cold front coming down from Canada, and it can stir up the weather really quick. But I mean, this has been an unusual year when it comes to the warmth. I can't remember. It's been a while since we've had a Christmas where it's been so warm where you could
Right.
actually go outside without a jacket.
Same here, Tim.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Today it was now the only thing I was disappointed about it got up to 73 or 74 here in Manhattan, but it's been raining on and off. It's a kind of a dismal um uh like
Yep. Same
Christmas in the
here.
sense.
Whatever it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But people were walking around in shorts. They're out in the park picnicking, and there are ice cream trucks on the street. That's
Wow.
what I noticed. That's what I noticed first.
Well, guarantee that if it's this warm now, then in February we'll be butt deep in snow. So
Ah,
Mm.
well, how exactly
And
how
it-
deep it? whose butt are we measuring by?
Well, you better hope it's mine. Anybody taller, and it would be like the winter apocalypse.
Yeah. So, Tim, how are you spending your Christmas?
Well, of course, we have a 9-year-old daughter, Lorelei, and she is in bed asleep now, waiting for Santa Claus to come.
And what has Santa Claus bought her?
Oh my gosh! Just okay. We got her a basketball hoop. She loves playing basketball. So,
oh my goodness!
Yeah, we got her an iPod Touch.
Ooh.
And yeah,
I'm moving into your house.
Well, since iPhones are now so ubiquitous, the iPods are kind of, they've somewhat fallen out of favor. So, but for a 9-year-old girl, she's been really wanting this. Yeah. So I mean, it didn't really cost us that much.
Well, I am going out tomorrow evening. I am celebrating my Christmas with my friends and my besties, we call them here in the hood, April, and of course Carol, who is our devoted artist and a co-mingler. What's the a helper, assistant, messenger of light.
Girl Friday.
No. Yeah, I don't know. She doesn't come in on. She doesn't come in on Friday, so that wouldn't work out. Anyway, we're going out for Indian food, which of course, is my favorite. Maybe I'll have some Bombay chicken or some fish. So those are my besties, April and Carol. And then I've been calling and talking on the phone to people that I don't necessarily see, but who are my charming friends and devotees, like Helen, who lives out in California, and of course Peter, who is responsible for taking our delightful broadcast and putting them up on YouTube and adding a little bit of spice and color in the dramatics department. He adds the visuals, and sometimes I look at these and I say, "Wow, look at that! It's almost like looking at a movie." I mean, he really does an incredible job on it. So I'm kind of happy this Christmas. I actually even took a string of Christmas lights and ran them over my tiki bar.
Oh,
I have a very large tiki bar with some authentic tiki statues. That's not the word. Tiki figures that I bought back from Hawaii with me on the airplane. Now today they'd probably say it was contraband or something like that. And how about you, Tina? What do you do? I know you're going to be at the helm of the station here for hours and hours. Do you ever get any rest?
This is because we're doing the Christmas special and it's all going to be commercial free. No news, no nothing. It's all going to be automated. I'm finishing putting all the playlists together. Oh, yeah. But because of that, I work part-time at KDWN 720 AM out here in Las Vegas too. Well, naturally, Christmas, nobody wants to work, so I'm the one that gets to go in at 4 o'clock tomorrow morning and work till noon. Oh. So I'm pretty much going to finish this show, cut it up, get it up, finish the stuff in the studio, and then head right down there. So I'll be going without sleep until
So you're going to be doing like umpteen hours of Christmas.
Yeah. Well, we don't do. Well, the thing is over at KDON, they're not doing any Christmas. It's all going to be like political. It's a political talk show, stuff like that. So I've all got to just be there playing the best stuff, making sure everything gets put into place, and at least somebody's there watching the 4 FM and 1 AM stations. So.
Well, I hope they give you a holiday pay to do that.
I don't even want to get started on that story. That's a sore topic. Legally, they have to. And believe it or not, I've been there at that station for 3 years, and I just found out for the first time this year that they actually do that. But you have to put it in this little spot in the box when you put your time card in, or you don't get it.
Oh, back pay.
That's what that's what I say to them. I'm like, you guys owe me a few $1,000s here.
Wow. Hey, I think I hear somebody coming down Santa Claus Lane. Would that be Rick Hilberg?
It sure is, Tim. How are you?
Well, Rick, I've been sitting here, I was going to say all day, but actually I was out earlier in the day. Are you guys in the 70s in Cleveland?
No, we're really, right now we're in the 50s, but we were up in the 60s earlier today, and yesterday we set a record temperature. Yeah, we're warm.
Same here.
It must be the mother. It must be the mothership.
Something is doing it. I don't know what the heck it is, but something is definitely doing. Probably the El Nino mothership, huh?
Well, Rick, it is nice for you to take the time out from your family and friends to join us on Christmas Eve, because we wanted to invite as many of our special guests as possible to share this evening with us. And there were other people that I should have invited, but I didn't, as Tina sits there in Las Vegas pulling her hair, thinking about having more people on, because we've got a whole list. But I understand you have something special to share with our listeners on Christmas Eve.
Yes, this is something that's kind of inspired by our old friend, the late, great Gray Barker.
My first publisher.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, we all knew Gray. He's one of my mentors, and I know he's was one of your mentors also.
Friend, yeah. What people always used to say, oh, Gray is unfriendly. He doesn't go to, like, conferences. He always came to mine. I'd send him a bus ticket or something. He'd be here, and, his 6 foot.
Well, he always came to ours.
Yeah, he did, yeah. For somebody who was supposed to be a recluse, he wasn't that much of a recluse, actually. I think Jim Mosley started that rumor for some reason.
It could be. There was the great Barker-Mosley feud that was going on back in the 1950s and 60s, yes. But that's a long time ago.
Oh, man, most people don't even remember that. But tell us the Christmas story.
Okay, this is something called a strange Christmas tale. It's late on Christmas Eve. You've taken the dogs out for their last walk and romp in the snow, and now Albert and Gray are fast asleep by their doggy dishes in the kitchen. Hey, they're probably thinking about the big party tomorrow and all the good scraps and treats they're going to get from the Christmas dinner. It's so very quiet in the house that you turn on the radio and tune in some Christmas music while you put the last remaining presents under the tree for the next morning, when friends and family will show up for a big holiday gathering. You decide to light a fire in the fireplace and then quietly slip into the kitchen so not as to wake the dogs, and grab a hot and steaming mug of coffee to sip by the fire. As you listen to the softly playing Christmas music and admire how well you have decorated your Christmas tree, and how beautiful the room looks by the soft light of the fire, you notice through the front window that it has started to snow once again. Oh, it looks so peaceful outside now that at this late hour everyone is inside, and the only activity to be seen are the twinkling Christmas lights of the neighbors and the gently falling snowflakes. You see some car lights coming down the street and see someone is entering your driveway. Wow! Who could be stopping by at this late hour on Christmas Eve? You see by the light of your porch that the car looks very old. Hey, maybe a Cadillac from the early 1950s or so. Oh, man, that car looks just like it rolled off the showroom floor. And it's so doggone clean that its black finish literally gleams in the reflected lights. Wait, 3 gents are getting out of the car, and they're all wearing very formal-looking suits and old-fashioned hats. They appear to be heading for your front porch and the door. In a second or two, your doorbell rings. Should you answer it at this late hour?
Storyteller is your calling. I can see we could get you booked into all the.
What about my dog?
Well, he's looking for that Christmas treat now. You've got to give him some kind of treat.
Sorry.
I'm sure Diane's dogs get treated very well over there.
I'm sure they do, and the recent cat that you got too.
Them too.
Yep.
So Rick, how are you spending your Christmas?
We're going to be seeing our great-grandchildren tomorrow morning, very early before they leave for a little trip, and we'll be back here and just having a very quiet day with some a nice dinner and just sit around and relax. That's what we're going to do.
And you have a Christmas tree?
Oh, yes, we do. We have several. We have several, two actually. Well, there's one in Jeremy's room, our grandson's room. We have one in the living room, and right here in the family room where I am, there's another one. So we actually have 3 trees.
Oh, great.
Well, like 3 kings. What was that song? Oh, never mind. I sang that I think when I was in 5th grade or something. 3 kings.
We 3 kings. Yes.
3 kings. Gloria Dar. Pa, pa, pa. Yeah. That was, the King Wenceslas and the Magi, who, of course, were astrologers. People say, oh, all that the occult stuff is not in the Bible. It's a bad omen. It's the devil or whatever. But the Magi that came to see Jesus were astrologers. So that's why they had incense and frankincense, myrrh, and all that stuff. And that's it. And Rick, I thank you so much, and we'll be talking to you in the new year.
All right, sir. Well, you have a very good Christmas, and all of your guests too, and all of your
Merry
listeners.
Christmas.
Yes, and to your family, Carol and your family.
Thank
you just have a wonderful time.
Merry Christmas, Rick.
Yes, you too. Bye-bye.
And so, that is our first guest for the evening, and we will have many others coming up after our break. And we'll be talking next to Paul Eno, our contact up. Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. And that will be coming up in just a few minutes.
I never thought that I would hear a Christmas-related Men in Black story. So that's a new one to me.
Well, Rick did a great job.
Yes, he did. He did.
And I hear that break music. Is that the break dance music? Yeah,
that's it. Break dance.
Santa Claus is hip hop into town. Yeah, and I still got to get all this soot off of me from coming down out of the chimney upside down. And
upside down.
If people, upside down Santa. Well, that's maybe my best side. I don't know. Anyway, we'll be back in just a few moments with some more Christmas chaos.
All right, wishing everyone a Merry Christmas. And Tim Beckley's gone back up the chimney.
And I'm coming back down with the big gifts.
Well, I welcome everyone, all of our listeners. You got Tim Beckley, of course, Diane Tessman, our wonderful producer, Tina Marie. And now we've got Paul Eno on the line with us. Paul, thank you very much for being with us this Christmas Eve.
Oh, you're very welcome, and Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night in a few minutes anyway.
That's right. Well, and everyone, nestle up close to the fire, get your eggnog out. If you don't like eggnog, bourbon will do. We don't care.
Yay!
There you go.
Yeah. Diane, that's her 3rd sip already tonight.
Oh!
Well, Paul, since you have a theological background, do you want to add any input to the whole Christmas season and the? I know we were talking a little bit earlier about the Star of Bethlehem and the angels and all that. So I mean, care to add anything?
Well, I think, why didn't I think of that, Tim? Yeah, I think I can add a couple of things. I spent a lot of years in the seminary studying for the priesthood. I never made it, but maybe the church and I both had a lucky escape. I don't know. But, the birth of Jesus is obviously that's the center of the Christmas idea, and that's mentioned in only 2 of the 4 Gospels, Matthew and Luke. And the popular story, as we have it, comes down mostly from Luke. And you've got angels and shepherds, beautiful singing that comes from the sky. Close encounters of the third kind or what. And what sounds like a great deal like a UFO leading 3 astronomers to a little manger. Now, there's nothing about a stable, and the Greek word used for manger could also mean crib, so they could have been anywhere. But if you're looking for possible paranormal connections, the angels and the star are good places to begin. So what about the Star of Bethlehem? I suppose if it could simply be what's commonly called a miracle, and there's a story behind that. That's not what most people think it is theologically. I have no problem with that. We see miracles all the time. Scholarly types, however, suggest that the Star of Bethlehem was a nova or supernova, an exploding star somewhere in the galaxy whose light happened to reach Earth at the time of Christ's birth. Problem is that novas or novae look like big stars, and they don't move to our sight relative to other stars. Another issue is that we have very little idea of when Jesus was born. December 25th, probably forget about it. That was a deliberate move on the part of the early church to co-opt the feast of the invincible sun, the unconquerable sun, a Roman feast. And that was done deliberately so that the pagans would find it easier to relate to and it comes across in English as a rather good pun, rather than the sun, S-U-N, to relate to the son, S-O-N, being Jesus. Rather clever at that, and it worked in a lot of cases. Of course, a lot of people had no choice about becoming Christians. So this is all the background of this of this business. And the issue, too, is that the Bible insists that this star did move and that it led these wise men from the east to the Christ child, who was probably 2 years old or more by the time they got there, if the story's true. The UFO theory has been proposed, and before we laugh at it, we should consider the fact that most early Christians believed that Jesus was a divine being who literally came from and went back to the sky. While the ancients didn't share our modern kind of, this nuts and bolts idea of aliens and flying saucers that some of us have, they thought they were putting two and two together. Once the official Christian doctrine about Jesus was finally settled, and that wasn't done until the 4th century, we still have a man with no human father who performed all sorts of miracles and who had literally ascended back into heaven, carried on some sort of cloud, quote unquote, from Acts of the Apostles. So, I mean, you tell me. And I think that's...
Well, we just got thrown off the Christian radio network, but that's okay.
Well, no, this is in no way a put down of anything. Least of all by me,
Yes.
But I mean, the fact is that a lot of people don't understand their own faiths, whether they be Christians, Jews, Muslims, Hindus, or what. They have their own ideas about these things, and the official teachings don't always match. And there is no official teaching about this, one way or the other, really. It's just that you have the story in the gospel as translated, terrible translations in English. And if you read it in Greek, it's quite interesting. It says a lot of other things, not just this story, but a lot of other things. So it's really anybody's guess, and it really is all a matter of faith, I suppose.
Yeah. Now, what about the Magi? Were they astrologers?
Well, yeah, supposedly they were. I mean, it's translated in English as 3 kings because magus means master, and that's been interpreted as kings by some of the English translations, which is a mistake. But yeah, they were essentially those who had special knowledge, and that would generally be considered astrologers, which at the time was the same thing as astronomers. I saw a really hilarious cartoon that I often wondered about what frankincense was. You had the one magus is standing there. One of the wise men is standing there, and he said, "Okay, we've got the gold and we have the myrrh, but what the heck is that?" And the third one's standing there holding the hand of Frankenstein's monster. And I was like, "Gee, frankincense!" All the kids would laugh. It sounds like Frankenstein. But I'm sure that is an apocryphal story and didn't quite happen exactly as told that way. But and of course that's the reason why we give gifts at Christmas. There are 2 reasons for that. One is the gifts of the Magi, the gold, frankincense or Frankenstein, and myrrh, and also Saint Nicholas, this incredible guy. If you look at my Facebook page, how much love and how many great things and amazing things do you have to do for people to be remembered across 1,700 years of history with the love which St. Nicholas is remembered. And people say, Santa Claus, you're going to tell your children, and then they're going to think you're liars when they get older, and they are devastated when they find out. Well, my children, including Ben, whom you all know, my co-host on Behind the Paranormal, was he was brought up with stories of St. Nicholas. St. Nicholas is real, and I'll tell you, folks, that there were some years when there were things under that Christmas tree that my wife and I did not put there. And I'll tell you, and St. Nicholas is very real to us. Real guy. If you look at we use this sort of multiverse approach that all time and all past and future are simultaneous. Right. He's still out there. So hey, why not?
Absolutely. Well, Paul, we want to thank you for joining us here, and in celebrating under the lights of the Christmas tree and telling us the story of no mistletoe, please.
Yeah, we're too old, right?
Not unless Tina and Diane are in the room. Then we can. But you and your family, and Ben especially, have a great holiday and a new year. And we'll be talking to you soon. And don't forget to listen to Behind the Paranormal. And we'll be right back with another guest. Thank you, Paul.
Okay. Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night, Paul. Merry Christmas.
God bless us, everyone.
We three kings of merriment are. Yes.
You know, it's funny that he should talk about, mysterious presence turning up under his tree, because, I've run across quite a few stories. I mean, yeah, they may be anecdotal stories, but of people who claim that they have actually seen Santa Claus, like in their house or, outside with his sleigh and reindeer and stuff. So, I mean, there's whether or not you believe in Santa Claus or Saint Nicholas or not, there have been a lot of situations where people have actually had visitations from somebody, at least, that looks like the traditional Santa Claus.
My cats are stationed at every window looking for him in his sleigh, even now.
Well, the last time that the last time that my daughter checked the NORAD radar for Santa Claus, he was in Brazil. So I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how long it takes him.
Before my cats could take a nap before he shows up.
So now, Diane, are you expecting Santa Claus to bring your cats anything for Christmas? I know ours, they always get catnip.
Yeah, catnip is all they really care about, catnip and food. They don't need the toys. They'll don't make toys.
That's right.
Well, that's pretty much like me.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Indian food and toys, I guess.
Toys, yes.
Well, yeah. My toy, I got to go out and buy myself a new laptop, which I don't consider too much of a toy. I consider a nuisance to some degree. After you have 3 Kindles in your house, you don't want to sit there and try to master a laptop again. But that's what it is.
You're crazy, laptops.
Yeah. Maybe Saint Nicholas will put one under your tree, Tim.
Okay. And I understand we have Charlotte on the line?
Yes.
Well, Merry Christmas.
Oh, Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah, I believe temperature-wise, we probably beat Tucson this afternoon.
I'll tell you in a minute. Let's see. I'm getting my dashboard up. Yeah, I can have all this weather right at my fingertips now, so I just need to see.
Oh, actually, now for people who don't, our listeners who might not be familiar with Charla is the queen of the paranormal, I call her. In the Tucson area, we have investigated the UFOs in Sedona, had all sorts of synchronicities, and have dug for treasure in Jerome. Sort of.
Well,
I guess,
if I'm the queen of the paranormal, it has to be because I'm from New Orleans.
There you go. Uh-huh.
You see?
Well, that is the
I've
place
lived here
to be.
a long time in Tucson, but New Orleans is my home. But 73 degrees in New Orleans. How do you like that?
Well, and how about in Tucson?
In Tucson, it's 50 degrees. New
Yeah,
York, it says it's 64.
Well, it was.
So it got
up
we're
to
having
73.
a warm Christmas. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you noticed that. Yes, indeed, yes. So how are you now? You have, Diane, of course, has all her cats and dogs and deer in the woods near the house, and Tim has a couple of cats, and I'm petless. Although, actually, I think
Diane, she's my patron saint now.
I do actually have a cat that I share with my friend April. We call him Meatball because he is quite a hefty little kitty, and he also likes his catnip toys and the cans of food that we
we bring him all the time. We have them delivered by Amazon, and they're stacked up pretty high on top of the fridge. And so we want to say Merry Christmas to our buddy Earl. Keep on trucking and eating. There you go.
Oh, go Meatball.
Yeah, there you go. Go, Meatball.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Are you there?
Yeah. So who is Earl?
Earl is the name of the cat. Yes.
He's the cat. The Duke of Earl.
Cat. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, he named his cat Earl.
He's kind of my adopted son.
Oh.
And so,
you know, tomorrow.
Yes.
Besides, you know, we're all animal people here. You know.
Right.
I won't even tell you how many dogs I have, but
well, we know.
I get happy when I hear about Diane, because I feel like I'm not the only one. You know, I have
Absolutely.
company.
Good for you.
Well,
Good for you.
Well,
They
Charlotte,
make me happy. You know, they're always smiling.
Well, Charlotte,
you know?
I want to
smile. Do you ever notice that?
Unconditional love, always, and
Do
smiles.
you notice the love coming from their eyes, and they smile too? And
Yeah,
if
they
they're sad, their little mugs get sad too. You know, so.
Yep. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Charlotte, we've got to move on to our next guest here, but I want to thank you for coming on and spending a little bit of Christmas Eve with us, and save a glass of eggnog. I'll be out there soon.
Bless you.
Oh, I love eggnog, so cheers with eggnog for everyone. Okay, good night. Merry Christmas.
All right.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.
Okay. Now we're waiting for Marc Brinkerhoff to come down from outer space. He was going to tell us about Christmas on other planets. I know he is up with his significant other in Connecticut. And no doubt they're UFO spotting, but they should be getting in and putting on that Skype. And if he isn't, then we will have to tell a Christmas story, Tim, right?
That's right. I have all kinds of Christmas stories.
Do you?
Well,
how about,
you want me to play that Christmas song, seeing you have never heard the Chimney song?
Yes, definitely.
I can't believe, Tim, as much as you've been in around radio,
wait a minute, now,
never heard the Chimney song.
Mark is calling me. I don't know why that is, but I don't dare answer this because I'll get disconnected from you guys, probably.
Well, I know. I sent Mark a request on Skype and told him to connect with me. But sometimes what happens is they don't realize they see me, and even though I tell them who I am and stuff like that.
Well, I've told them too.
All
right. Well, we'll have time after the break. We'll have a little.
Well,
time
the
here.
song's only 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
This is by Bob
Yeah.
Rivers. Can't believe you've never heard of the song by Bob Rivers.
I have not.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
We're going to play. This is Bob Rivers, the Chimney.
I love that.
Oh.
I'll never think of Christmas the same.
Oh.
And they get this little girl to sing it, which was priceless, you know.
It reminds me of a chimney I had in Ireland that had something in it, and then all the smoke came back into the house, and I don't know what was stuck up there, but yes, I can relate.
It was Santa Claus, Diane. Yeah.
Oh.
We only, in my whole house back in New England, we only had something like that happen once. It was a raccoon that got in. A lot of the houses now, you have these little metal things you put on the chimneys, but we had a really nice chimney, and you had to go out and you had the chimney sweeps that would come over. Well, apparently one of the Christmas, a raccoon or a squirrel or something got up on the house and fell in the chimney, and we put the fireplace on. Now, if we were down south, we'd cook up, have a little Barbie, but...
Yes. Oh, the South. Yes.
That song reminds me of something from Dr. Demento. I mean, I don't know if many people remember Dr. Demento anymore. But,
Dr.
Yes.
Demento.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and he would always have, songs just like that at Christmas time. So, that it was like Alan Sherman's The 12 Gifts of Christmas.
I remember Alan Sherman, yeah.
We're bringing Mark on now. We got Mark on with we pulled him out of the air with the Santa Claus. So Mark's on straight from the North Pole with us.
Hi.
Hey, Mark, how's it going?
Okay, and now it's all messed up, huh?
Now you need to turn your audio down.
Straight from the North Pole with us.
Oh, well, you can hear that delay.
Hey, deja vu.
Okay, and now it's all
Great.
messed up, huh? Yeah, you need to turn your audio down. Straight from the...
All right, we're gonna take Mark off until he gets his audio sit down.
Deja vu.
I know. I'm like having an acid trip, and I've never taken acid. So.
Whoa.
It's nothing like live radio.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you bring people on, like in the middle of segments. You just like, oh, you're gonna bring them on. Let's see what happens.
That's right. What? And you see what happens.
So we'll get him on here. No problem, whatever. So I just want to make sure. I don't want to bring it back on. Make sure get his audio levels all set and stuff like that. Oh, he's calling us. Let's
try it again.
Yeah, let's try it again. Let's see. Hold on 1 second.
Mark's like, why'd you cut me off?
I know. Well, we want to make sure the audio's all set. So, Mark, you there?
Yeah, how's it now?
Oh, see, there we go. We got Mark back on from the North Pole. You know what it is? It's that trip from the North Pole. Santa, you would think with all this technology, he would get that stuff all situated. So.
It's the scout ship hovering over this house.
There you go.
This scout ship out here.
I know. I don't know if they've taken Tim, though. They might have taken Tim Beckley.
Oh, finally.
He's been waiting all these years for another ship to take him away, and now it has. Well, that's okay. Well, Mark, this is Tim Swartz. Really great to have you with us tonight.
Hi again, Tim. How you doing? We love you.
And Diane Tessman is with it. Oh, and I think maybe I heard maybe Tim Beckley chuckle there.
Well, I'm still trying to get out of the darn Santa suit. I mean,
it's not the Santa. It's not the Santa suit. It's the girdle that you had to put on to get the suit fit.
Okay. All right. Yeah, probably so. Hey, Mark, how are you?
Okay.
Yeah.
How are you guys? We got Phyllis. Phyllis is here too.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to everybody.
Christmas.
Okay, why don't we all sing a song? Sing a song of something or other. Happy New Year. What do we sing? Come on. No,
I want a hippopotamus for Christmas.
There you go.
Hey, Mark. So what's Christmas like on other planets?
Well, it's not the same as on Earth, of course, because well, let's put it this way: the teachers that came, of course, Yeshua at the time, has been to other places, other planet systems, and didn't go through the same ordeal he went through here. So in a way, it's like the Christed being comes to visit your planet with information, and they accept it, and they understand. And so it's a celebration of the Christhood of planets and things, and as they get physical, 3D dense physical planets. And on the next dimension's over. But not all planets have that kind of a celebration. It's just certain ones that have gone through certain things. And believe me, we've asked questions on the other side. I've asked questions. And let's say Sananda, Yehoshua, he's told me he's gone through different experiences on different places in different galaxies as well. And let's put it this way. On Earth, it wasn't accepted the same way. So,
well,
but he did rise up. He did rise up and come back.
Mark. We got connected. Mark, we got connected a little late here, but we're going to have a commercial break. Then we'll be back. We have Sean Casteel that's going to tell us a Dickens story for Christmas. But why don't you hold on to the line, and we'll get a few more minutes of chatter in with you. Perhaps after the show, and we'll knock out one of our Christmas carols just for you. Okay.
Hey, oh. Well, Bigfoot's here.
Well, does he sing Christmas carols?
I don't know. We hung a holiday ham on the tree.
Oh, the hell with Bigfoot? Bring that ham over here, Mark. Come on. All right, I
Exploring the bizarre. Your e-ticket ride into the world of the paranormal. Strap yourself in as we traverse the universe exploring the unexplained. UFOs, ghosts, lost worlds, cryptozoology, as well as other dimensions. It's time to take back the night. Now, your electrifying hosts of Exploring the Bizarre, Timothy Beckley and Tim Swartz.
You know, we've got so many people in the Exploring the Bizarre Christmas living room that the tree almost fell over.
Oh!
So you want to get down? You want to get down from the tree, Tim? Okay, just it's all right. Hey, we've got a special a friend of ours who's calling in to wish us a Merry Christmas and vice versa. It's Alan Benz from Tucson. Alan, how are you doing? How are you spending your Christmas Eve?
I was spending my Christmas Eve reading a copy of William Branway's The Gods of Eden.
Well, you know, he's promised to come on the show. He doesn't do very many programs, but by gosh, by golly, we are going to get him on the program because we're not like other shows here at Exploring the Bizarre. We get the best, the most important researchers and people that, who have something to say that haven't been on over and over and over and over again. Anyway, are the cactus in bloom out there, Alan?
Well, they haven't frozen over. That's one thing for sure.
Yeah.
The temp here has been probably 50s and 60s, something like that, which is a little bit cool for this time of year. But anyway.
And we've got New York is the hot spot. We got up to 73 today.
Well,
so there you go.
Good. Yeah, put on the shorts and the suntan lotion. And,
what do you think? What do you think I got on right now? I got the air conditioner on and the window open, and I'm wishing everybody a Merry Christmas.
It's a sight to see, Alan.
Well, okay. If you saw me in my Santa Claus outfit and you had a choice between the two of them. Anyway, Alan, I want to thank you for calling up and saying hello. And now we've got another guest here, all the way out there from California. Yeah, take care, Alan. Thank you. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Sean Casteel, one of my favorite individuals in the paranormal world, and co-author of many of our books, including one that we just worked on with Paul Eno called Spooky Treasure Troves. And it's a heck of a book. It's a heck of a book. It tells you how to find buried treasure. Just listen to the ghosts and to the UFOs. Of course, some of them may put a curse on you while you're trying to find it, but millions and millions of dollars. We've got to do a show on that, Sean, coming up in the next couple of weeks. But, Sean, how are you spending your Christmas?
I'm going to be gathering here in Ventura with my family. We're having normal seasonal cool weather, high in the 60s. So it's cold enough to put a coat on and zip it up and so forth.
Well, you can borrow mine because I won't be needing one for the next couple of days. But I hear, Sean, that you have a story to relate to us.
Well, I'm probably not the first one to think of this. It's probably occurred to other people too. But it struck me over the years how Charles Dickens' story, A Christmas Carol, the story of the miser Scrooge and how he becomes a human being again, is the structure of the story is similar to an abduction experience. He goes to bed at night. The spirits come in the middle of the night and wake him up, and they show him these life-changing visions and so forth. And then they put him back in bed. Just like a typical abduction, you have the awakening and then the capture, the movement into the ship and whatever you're shown by the aliens during the experience, and then you're simply returned to bed. You're tucked in like a baby again when it's all over. But the idea of alien contact as transformative in a positive spiritual way is sort of it's paralleled by the story in A Christmas Carol. Scrooge reconnects with his own humanness and begins to love his fellow man again after he's practically scared into it by these spirits who take him away and show him the error of his ways and they do it with a kind of authority. They're within their rights to exercise their transformation process on Scrooge. So I thought that was kind of interesting. There's a lot of parallels like that. I think Whitley Strieber did something similar with that. Before he was aware of his abduction experiences, he was writing horror novels that
That's correct.
Elements of the abduction experience would be manifested in vampires or wolves or something. So anyway,
well, now, yeah, that would lead us to believe that we had Grant Cameron on last week, Sean, and one of the things that we talked about was how he felt, and I guess I go along with this, that some of the rock musicians of today were being influenced by, ultra-terrestrials, aliens, whatever you want to call them.
Right.
Are you familiar with the poem? Oh my goodness, I'm going to mess up here. It's about the dome. I can't remember who wrote it, but it sounded like it took place on another planet.
I don't know. I don't know what poem you're talking about.
I can't think of the author's name.
But I do agree with what you're saying.
Kubla Khan. That's right.
A stately pleasure dome did decree.
Yes.
Right, I know that line. But I agree with what you're saying about the aliens being a cultural influence on some sort of unconscious level. I think we wrote about Grant Cameron a little bit when we did the book on the Shirley MacLaine book, Shirley MacLaine Meets the Pleiadians. I think that was a book where we included some material from Grant and alien influence on people like Neil Young.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I've written extensively about what I feel is an alien influence on Bob Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that they make their presence felt. They're showing artists like Dylan and Neil Young and Charles Dickens. They're showing them important ideas on an unconscious level. And most great writers have a muse. They have some sort of unconscious connection to some kind of creative force. Mm-hmm. And it's channeled through them and comes out as celebrated art. And I think that's a conscious thing that the aliens do. And almost no great artist is free from some kind of influence like that, some kind of muse that drives that I don't know, union with the universe or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And my point about Charles Dickens is that's another example of it.
Uh-huh.
The clear parallels between Scrooge's experience and the standard patterns of an abduction experience, I think, are very clear.
Well, whenever I say "oh humbug," I'll never think of it in the same way.
There's a really happy scene in A Christmas Carol where the ghost of Christmas Past takes Scrooge back to a party being thrown by one of Scrooge's former employers, Fezziwig. And Fezziwig was not exactly rich, but he treated his employees well. And someone comments, he's made us so happy with just a little bit of money. And I think of you, Tim. What a kindly, benevolent boss you are. And
my goodness! There will be something extra for you.
I'm assuming he's getting a Porsche in his driveway too.
Yeah. Everybody gets a Porsche. Yeah.
Yay!
But you see my point. We're in some ways we're sort of a low budget operation, but we care about each other, and you have established you've established a leadership pattern of you care about us and we care about each other. So that's sort of
God. You are indeed an inspiration for the holiday season, Sean, and we thank you for being on. And we're going to get over to China in a minute or so, I believe. We're gonna try to make a call over to mainland China, where our friend Bruce is waiting for us. Now, Bruce not only believes in dragons, but he's actually seen them, and not in China, here in the U.S. where he used to live. And Bruce and Mark, who is still with us. You still there, Mark?
You bet.
Okay. Our old friends. We're all buddies. So we're going to try to hook up on that international line in just a second. Sean, once again, thank you so much, and have a Merry Christmas to you and your dad and your mom, and to your daughter and your brother and everybody else you know. And God bless you again, and have a good New Year.
Merry Christmas, Sean.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Diane. Merry Christmas to you, Tim, and my mother.
Merry Christmas.
Specifically.
Many new projects. Okay, as we move on into the night across the international dateline, Tim, right?
That's right.
We're just moving along.
What a world we live in that we can make these kinds of connections, you know?
Yeah,
Hey, welcome. Gentlemen, Mark.
Bruce.
Hey, welcome
Bruce.
to holiday time.
Whoa.
Yes, Jim.
China.
Yep.
We're in China now.
That's right. Live from China. Now, I don't know if you can see my sky picture, but it's a beast of burden taking in the stalks of the harvest for whatever reasons they use it for. But it's quite a picture to see it. Yep.
This is absolutely remarkable that we can sit here all over the country. I'm in New York, and Diane is in Iowa, and you're in China. We need somebody from Timbuktu. Actually, that was going to be the original name. That was going to be the original name of the show. Something about Tim and Timbuktu or something. But it was
that would have been
good. Yeah. But it was too cumbersome.
Sure.
But so now, Bruce. How is Christmas celebrated at all? Are you allowed to celebrate Christmas over there?
Well, no. Christmas is basically, if I send you a link, you'll see that Christmas in China is like China is Santa Claus. Okay, we produce all the toys. So what do you expect? We're Santa Claus. So everybody.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So I'm gonna send you the current, a page link that says the obvious, that when you are looking at Santa Claus driving buses and doing everything, what can I say? It's just the way it is, It's celebrated now in a non-spiritual sense, obviously.
Oh yes, yeah. You could say that about it being celebrated that way here too. Some of the malls are still open at like 11 o'clock, and you can order on Amazon, and they guarantee, like in a big city like New York, they'll deliver your package in 2 hours.
Sure.
So we're still here. But now, we think of Santa, of course, and his reindeer, but in China he would be riding with the dragons, I presume.
Oh no, it's always for the kids. Here, I'll send you this link. When you open it up, it's definitely commercial, because only at this time of the year the factories run full tilt to make toys all over the world, and the pollution rises to levels of you can't.
Oh, I know the
public. The public has to suffer for the economy. So that's a thing that has to. And I put this link up. When you go to it, you'll see all the Santas of China doing stuff. All right. Yeah. And that's funny. Yeah. So basically, no dragons. Yeah, no dragons. I think that's too esoteric for the.
Well, we did have I was in Chinatown over the weekend with my niece Dory, who I also want to give a shout out to, and they had a parade which was Santa. They had a parade with Santa and dragons.
Oh.
So they have combined the two of them here. But you actually had some experiences with a dragon. I know we don't have that long of a time to talk about it, but you are a believer in dragons.
Oh yeah, well, Mark would be too. He's probably the version of a dragon here is the way that aspect of qi is sort of how do you say, presented to a Chinese person personally. I haven't. My dragon connection is a little different than my wife's. She's quite the dragon expert. But where do you begin? I mean, things of the dragon are of a yang nature. Things of the phoenix, the rising phoenix, are of a yin nature. So maybe in the context of what we see esoterically, at night and all that, things that go bump in the night, it could be part of this yin-yang nature of what goes on here in China, right? Different than it would be in West Palm Beach, if you know what I'm saying, right?
Well,
so there's
I'd like to spend Christmas in both places.
Yeah, well, as you think, so you become. So these kind of features of the mind's dynamics, I think, influence some of the qualitative nature of what I'm trying to interpret. That's not always my experience. It's my wife's. Who are we losing here? Are you there, Tim?
I'm here. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we may have lost somebody. So, meanwhile, to answer your question, it's a qualitative thing. Basically, when things are seen, you have to know exactly, is it yang? If it's a yang nature, it may be a spirit being. If it's a yin nature, it may be from the elemental kingdom, if you know what I'm saying. Much more refined, subtle, feminine in nature, and still worthy of attention, even though it might be difficult to explain.
Bruce and I met under somewhat unusual circumstances. I don't remember how many years ago, but he was working in a travel agency, and I had ordered a ticket, and somehow the return flight got all screwed up. I couldn't get on the plane, and then I had to get on another one. Anyway, when we were talking in his office, and I was trying to get a partial refund, he asked me what I did, and I said, "Oh, I publish books and things on UFOs and blah blah blah." And he kind of looked at me askance, and then the next thing I know, he's hanging with Marc Brinkerhoff. I don't know how that happened exactly, but we've been one big happy family ever since. Now, Marc, you're here, and when's the last time you actually talked to Bruce?
Actually, probably Bruce about 3 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
Oh, now there you go.
About 3 to 4
weeks
ago, we were on site.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Marc was telling us a little bit about like holidays and the way people celebrate things where his friends are from, which is a little bit further away than China. But Marc, I understand you've been having a series of sightings and stuff too in the New York area where you live. You always seem to be in the middle of the hubbub of all this activity.
Yeah. Bruce and I met through Bryce Bond.
Yes. Well, who of course I knew. Well, yes. All right. So there's another link. Yeah.
Well, I had an actual physical encounter with an ET on August 10th in the Central Park, and Being came and talked to me. He was about almost 7 feet tall. Then he
and nobody else noticed him.
That's the thing. I can't tell. I saw people in the distance watching, but it didn't look like anybody responded when he walked by them in a very odd walk behavior. It was like Klaatu from the ancient movie 1951. He was wearing a silvery business suit, but it was not a business suit of Earth. It didn't have lapels the way we do here. It was very strange, and very strange fabric, and clean skin, pure skin, not a pore, not a mark on his face, not a wrinkle, large eyes, and they were beautiful blue color, and golden brown hair. And he talked with me, and he laughed, and I wrote up what he said. It was very strange stuff that he was saying, because he was asking to interview me, but he held a device that didn't look like a microphone, and I watched it, and he put it around me instead of putting it towards my face to interview me. He just moved it around my body and my head and tummy, like that. And it was odd, but I saw it was a silver cylinder, about not even 3 inches, about 3 inches long, and maybe a half-inch wide. But
and this is somebody you had not met before.
No one's ever walked up to me in the park. This being just appeared from nowhere and walked up to me and just sat down right next to me on the bench. Like the bag I had next to me had my binoculars in it and stuff, and he just sat exactly next to the bag, touching the bag with his leg.
And did he tell you where he was from?
No, but he kept looking to the sky with his eyes and smiling, like he was trying to tell me to look up there with his eyes. And so when I looked up there, I said to myself, well, there's not a spaceship up in the sky right now, but it doesn't mean it's not there invisibly. And
Speed it up.
And it just goes on, but he kind of interviews me, but he says to me at one point, that's what I get for trying to be a journalist. And I said, well, I thought you did pretty well being a journalist just now. And he says, well, I have a totally different other job. And he just smirks with me. So he's trying to tell me he's not from Earth. But then I watched him walk away, and as he went away from me, the energy was changed. I could see the energy, and I stood straight up and tried to follow him in the distance, but he walked so odd and slow, like he was having difficulty walking through our dimension. Walks around a curve towards 85th Street in the west side and just dematerialized. And that's when I went, within 15 minutes later, to my spot where I skywatch, because I was near it now, and a spaceship appeared. It was cold to look up, and it came out of a cloud, hovered. I looked at it with binoculars. First, I took a shot with the camera. Then I looked at it with binoculars, and then I felt something odd. A silence surrounded me, and then that's when they teleported me on the ship. And it was 24 minutes of missing time on the camera because the next picture I took of the UFO was still there with a cloud.
Mark, you always have such fascinating stuff happening to you. I wish I could be. Yeah, I wish I could be in your shoes.
What?
I wish I could be in your shoes for one day. But anybody who wants to read more about Mark, of course, he has a website. But he's also, we did a whole chapter on him with a lot of the photographs that he's taken in our UFO Repeaters book, The Camera Doesn't Lie. And, you know, it's...
So Phil, revised it, we got more.
Phyllis said when you revise the book, we got more for you.
Oh, my God. It's already 300 pages. You know, most of the books that Tim and I do, Tim Swartz and I do, and Sean Casteel works on, they're so big. We have this spooky treasure trove. It's over 400 pages. You know, we give them the bang for the dollar, man. I mean,
that's right.
You know, You know, we go. There's just something wrong with me. You know, I sit here and I say, well, geez, we didn't include that story from 1958. We got to include that, you know, and then I go back and just continue on, you know, with this. But it sounds like you've had an exciting December. It's a December to remember, and we look forward to having you on in maybe a month and a half or so to talk about all your recent activities, because you haven't been on actually KCOR, which is the best paranormal radio music station in the world, broadcasting out of
your checks
Vegas,
in the mail.
Nevada. Yeah. Well, it's about time.
Leaving a Starship cruise here, your show. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's what we got to do. You know, everybody puts together like boat cruises, you know, cruises on yachts. We got to do like a mothership cruise. That would. How much could we charge and then leave town real quick? I don't know. You know, actually, you know, somebody tried that years ago. There was a guy by the name of Otmore Cobb who lived in St. Louis. He was working with a fellow by the name of George Marlowe, I think it was, and they went around inviting these celebrities like Jackie Gleason and Jack Parr to come with them, and they were going to take off, you know, to go to the moon or somewhere. But I guess Jackie Gleason had already been to the moon and seen aliens anyway. So that, of course, the trip never took place. So what are you gonna say, right? And that's what it is. And we were going to have Christmas carols, but we had one so far, and we're going to have a break coming up, and then we're going to come back.
I hear the music already, Tim.
We're going to come back with Allen Greenfield and Adam Gorightly, and that should be a talk fest to remember. Again, I want to thank you, Mark and Bruce.
Thank you.
You both be well, and thank you for coming on and sharing a little eggnog with the boys over here and ladies.
Excellent.
Sure, it's great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Bye.
Bye, love. Bye, everybody. We love you.
Bye, Bruce.
Bye. Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Now back to exploring the bizarre with two of the most electrifying researchers in the paranormal. Your hosts, Timothy Beckley and Tim Swartz.
Hello, America, can you hear me? Hello, this is Admiral Richard Byrd at the North Pole approaching. Can you hear me? I can see the North Pole. I can see it. I can see the North Pole. There's that Russian flag at the bottom. Okay, and I am 5 by 5 at the North Pole, still flying north. I'm still flying north, and can you hear me, America? There is a world beyond the poles. I tell you, there's a world beyond the poles, and I'm now seeing.
Well, Admiral Byrd, you've actually traveled through time, because you made that journey back in 1947.
I don't know what you're talking about, Tim. This is Allen Greenfield.
Alan.
Am I on the air?
Oh, hi, Alan.
Hey, Alan. Hey. Happy holiday, man. Happy holiday. You know, this is actually
my holiday. New Year's I'm for.
Yeah, well, we
come
all
to New
we
York and we'd party at the Hilton.
That's
and not
right.
the Commodore because Trump tore it down. But that's not a political statement. That's the facts.
Well, we've got Allen Greenfield on from the Atlanta area. Bishop.
Damn Bishop. Damn
Bishop. Greenfield. And from sunny California near the Integratron, we've got Adam Gorightly, one of our buddies, one of our friends, and we thought
love him. God love Adam.
Greetings, humans.
I thought we would just complete this Christmas chaos with the two of the most chaotic people that I know in all of the paranormal and human oddities or something like that. I don't know what I'm saying. But welcome, guys. Welcome, guys. Well, now,
and I don't mean Swartz. I mean Beckley. I know that you have this fantastic doctor memory card. Where were you on this day, very day in 1968, December 24th, Christmas Eve at midnight? Where were you?
Well, we were in some little cabin or trailer near.
It was a Holiday Inn, but
it was the Holiday Inn. Okay, all right. But I remember also staying maybe before Brown Mountain, North Carolina. That's the bottom line. We were out looking for the Brown Mountain lights,
and when we got back to the hotel to your room, your mother called.
Correct.
We're explaining that it was. You said to her, I don't know what she said. She said, but it's the warmer states. You were explaining how we slid down the mountains.
Oh, it was
said, it's the warm states, but it's the cold month. I remember exactly what you said.
Oh, you know.
And then you turned on the TV, and I thought, God, the astronauts are marooned in space, lost in space, because they were reading the Bible. But it turned out it was, like reading the Bible from the moon, which is what astronauts did.
That I do remember the roads being very, very slippery. I don't know how it's down there tonight, but of course we've got balmy short sleeve weather here, and
I'm pouring sweat. It's in the 70s. It's been in the 70s all month. But remember, folks, Adam, bear me out on this. There is no global warming. We have that from the seven scientists who work for the oil companies. There's no warming.
I'm looking out my window, and guess what I'm staring at? I kid you not. Snow.
Snow.
I have a couple inches of snow. I'm in central California, up, elevation-wise, 3,500 feet near Yosemite National Park, and we got about 3 inches of snow today. So there you go.
You're saying that the weather outside is frightening, but inside, how is it?
Inside, it's fine. Yeah, it's delight. We got a fire going in the wood stove, so it's all good. So much for global warming.
Hey, Adam, what was the most exciting Christmas Eve or Christmas Day you ever spent? Can you remember?
No.
No. Okay. Well, we were going to ask you, what would Robert Anton Wilson, how would he have spent Christmas?
Probably typically a pretty normal Christmas, I'd imagine. He wasn't too dedicated to any particular religious view, but it got me thinking today, coming on here, what exactly to talk about, and I got thinking about the Amanita muscaria mushroom. I'm sure you're familiar with it, how it's related to the roots of shamanism in Europe and Christmas. You've probably heard those stories, haven't you?
No. Go ahead and tell us.
What about the sacred mushroom and the cross, huh?
Well, yeah, that's quite possibly the book that who wrote that? Dr. John Allegro. He was talking about the.
Yes, he got drummed out of the Dead Sea Scrolls committee for having the temerity to say it was a visionary experience, which to me makes a lot more sense than anything more literal. But don't quote me on that because somebody might hear it.
Now, was it actually Amanita muscaria or psilocybin? We don't know for sure, but so I was thinking about this today, and Adam Parfrey at Feral House published a little piece on the roots of all of this, and so the tradition of it, the shamans in Europe way back in the day, a lot of people have pointed that Amanita muscarius was really part of what started the tradition in winter solstice and with Christmas, and the shamans back then, pulling out a couple things for this article, the northern shamans dressed in red and white hooded robes depicting the color of the sacred mushroom. If you've ever seen one of these, you can pull it up on the web. It has a very bright red cap with and it's speckled with white dots. And so, and during the winter solstice, the shamans would give out these mushrooms as gifts. And so, through the culture, the conception of Santa Claus now really came from a Coca-Cola campaign, the fat roly-poly guy. But before that, a lot of these the depictions of Santa were kind of strange-looking creatures. You guys still with me there?
Elves, we're being silent because of your wisdom.
And so, picking a few things out of this. So, and these are passages from a book called Mushrooms and Humanity, written by a guy named James Arthur, who I actually knew. He lived not far from me, and anyway, kind of had a tragic death. We won't get into that, but quoting from him, and I believe it was from Mushrooms in Humanity, he said, "People bring pine trees into their houses," this is back in the day, "at the winter solstice, placing brightly colored red and white packages under their boughs as gifts to show their love for each other, because underneath the pine bough is the exact location where one would find the most sacred substance, the Amanita muscaria, in the wild." And also it talks about here the reindeer, native to Arctic and subarctic regions of northern Europe and Siberia, are connected to the shamanic tradition in that reindeer are particularly fond of eating Amanita muscaria. After ingesting the fungi, they prance about whilst under the influence of the psychedelic. This can symbolize reindeer flying as they accompany the shaman on their mystical trance flight. So a lot of people have pointed to this as really the roots of Christmas came out of this shamanic tradition way back when. Pretty
I always wondered why Rudolph was a little. His eyes were dilated. And all that.
Rudolph only goes back to Gene Autry, I think, but
Yes.
but the notion of, well, there's Saint Nicholas, who it's nominally based on, and then there is this fierce elf who would fly in. But America has a way of gentling down for public consumption anything that's really scary. They have the Day of the Dead in Mexico, but here it's Halloween. Let's put on a funny mask and get some candy from the neighbors. Hope there's no razor blades in it. Don't get any ideas, people. I don't need the karma. I've got enough already, okay? But nevertheless, yeah, it looks like that. I wish you folks could see the picture, the living picture of Tim Swartz right now, looking like a dead Santa Claus who's been mummified by the ancient Egyptians. It is truly, truly the most frightening thing I've seen tonight.
Are you looking at Tim passed out through your Skype or something? Or you're just...
it's my Skype picture.
Yes, I'm looking at the Skype.
Oh, I got you.
I haven't turned on my camera. If you want me to, I can reveal myself.
Now, there's there's kind of all kinds of UFO connections with drugs, but one that came in mind with that Amanita muscaria, and this might have been made up, and Allen probably knows quite a bit about the book by Andrea Puharich, The Sacred Mushroom.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah.
And he talked in that book about how he got those groups of psychics around them, and by using the sacred mushroom, they channeled their previous lives in whatever ancient Egypt and all this, and a lot of that group, I guess, kind of evolved into what became known as the Nine, or the psychics.
Council of Nine.
Yeah, the psychics who contacted the Council of Nine. And
that's the voice of Tibus that you just heard.
Thank you.
Who is that?
It's Diane Tessman.
Oh, Diane. Okay. Hi, Diane.
Hi.
And what else? Oh, and this guy who wrote about a lot of this stuff, James Arthur, I quoted him from Mushrooms and Humanity. Knew him briefly several years back. He knew Gabriel Green.
God bless Gabe. Gabe Green should be running for president now.
It wouldn't dilute the field, that's for sure.
Definitely not. Yeah.
He was a
money free.
Way ahead. Yeah, way ahead of himself in the thinking. I mean, he was just, and of course he was the one. He was the one too. They wanted to have relations with China in a time when the China was on our banned from America list. And of course now we just had Bruce on from mainland China.
He
just
was
before you
ahead
guys
of his
were.
time. Gabe was.
I have a button.
I do too.
Gabriel Green button that says something like Abe in 1860, Gabe in 1960. Yeah. But I was going to mention, James Arthur told me that he did psychedelics on a number of occasions with Gabe Green.
That would explain a great deal about his spiritual enlightenment and his voyage to the moon, Mars, Venus, and other galaxies.
Mm-hmm.
Other galaxies. Think about that. Not other planets.
I'm not
this
sure.
This is a much bigger problem, but that's okay because Gabe isn't with us anymore. And American law allows me to say that's pretty weird, even by my standards.
No,
Look, it's a Gardy. I'm coming to the inner Earth. The inner. Hello.
Did we lose Alan?
No, Alan is here. Who was that? Somebody keeps coming in. I keep channeling somebody. Hello, Chanel. No. That's on Scream Queens, but that's not important. Tim, over to you.
Yes. Come in, North Pole. Come in, North Pole.
We're beyond the North Pole, but it's still pointing north. I don't understand. I'll have to put this in a secret diary.
Get that guy a laxative, I think.
We carry a little pot for that on our long trips across the poles.
Well, he's bringing a lot of passion and energy to the show. That's for sure.
Let us know when you run into the giant mastodons and the Nazis and whoever else might be inhabiting the paradise inside the earth.
There they are, Nazis on mastodons. How's that? I've never seen them on mastodons before. I've seen them on woolly mammoths, but not on mastodons. So this is the night for the revelation of what goes on according to Efemundo Giannani. May he rest in peace. And according to Ray Palmer, who said, "Are you kidding? This is Ray Palmer, who listened to Shape." So take it for what it's worth, my friend. I'm looking at the camera. That's insane. That shows what a media whore I am. You come on live radio?
We don't. Yeah. Especially this is Las Vegas. Remember, we're broadcasting. That's a legal word.
I don't know how to tell you this, but you actually get out to the whole world, except China. You can broadcast from China, but you can't broadcast into China because they might get an idea like, freedom! Beyond the North Pole, there is freedom.
Believe it or not, we do have people that download the show from China.
Oh, well, Makaway.
Well, freedom. Bruce listens to the show every week. He told me, from China, and it's not UFOs are not.
And McDonald's. That's freedom American style.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, UFOs are not, the one thing that you can't talk about in China, but you can talk about UFOs freely, but not time travel. Now, isn't that very weird?
They're keeping the wraps on it.
Suspicious, yeah.
Because they don't want anybody to know that in 100 years there won't be a world. I didn't say that. Power again or something like that. Who knows? I don't know.
There'll be a world in 100 years, but maybe not on this planet.
Not necessarily our world, yeah. There'll be worlds.
Yes.
A world power, though, you said. China.
World power.
Oh,
World power. Yeah. Well, all powers come and go. I mean, nothing. Look at the past history of the planet. All cultures come and go, and we think that we're the mighty. Even
the Romans, they started to have clowns running for emperor. And people took them seriously.
I know where you're going with that.
And the climb and fall of the triumphant, empire.
Oh.
Some blame Christianity. Some blame the actor who ran for emperor and was emperor for 42 days, long enough for a legion to put together enough swords to depose him and cut off his head.
Oh.
And that's the true story of the decline and fall of the Roman Empire, not relating it in any way to America, the exceptional country of the 21st and any other century.
Hey, so Adam, do you ski?
That's what a segue!
That is a great segue.
I have some in the past, Tim. Not recently.
You have, yes.
Yeah.
While you're high?
No, would not. Never got. Never got that competent that I would do.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
I want to see you come down the slopes. Well, I do believe that some of the ski resorts are having a terrible time this season so far because they have no snow, and people are thinking about swimming pools and ice cream trucks and things along that line as opposed to putting on the
Wicked Witch of the West.
Well, even swimming pools have fallen out of favor in California, where water conservation has recently become so critical. We got this storm coming in now, and supposedly this Pineapple Express. So we'll see. There's a ski resort just hour up north of me. So if they see how they go. If they get a decent amount of snow, then they bring in their snow making machines and make some more snow to put on top of it.
Do they snow? Do they snow? Do they ski on Mount Shasta?
No.
No, because you might get taken inside and
that's what I was
find
thinking.
yourself with Guy Ballard and the I Am speaking of Nazis on Mastodons. You have to watch it on Mount Shasta because
they have all kinds of warning signs that there's vortex entrances here, and multi-dimensional things. So you need to don't be eating Amanita muscaria in the area.
Well, my friend who's since passed on, Blue Ocean, who of course was a fairly famous musician. He was born on Mount Shasta, and he was yes, believe it or not, he was born on Mount Shasta. He was a Native American. When he called the town of Weed to try to get a birth, he never had a birth. He never. Yeah, very funny, right? That's the nearest town, I think. To Shasta.
Yeah, it sure is in that area.
That's true.
And when he called to try to get a birth certificate, they thought he was making it up because they said there was no, like Indians living on Mount Shasta. Well, certainly he knew where he lived, and that was always a contention. But he managed to get his royalties from Don Kirshner and Pink Floyd and whoever else that he drummed for. But we certainly miss Blue on Christmas Eve, as we do all of our friends who cannot be here, who have passed on, like our friend Wally, for example. People that we've worked with over the years and enriched our life. But we've actually had a great program this evening. Tina, don't you agree?
Yeah, it was really interesting. A lot of great people calling in, and a lot of great shows.
You know, we have to do this more often.
What was that, Tim? You're breaking up. You're breaking up.
Oh, this is Admiral Byrd. I can't hear you.
Well, you know, Tina, you have to hand it to Tina. She does a remarkable job on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. I like to say that. It just kind of like flows off of my tongue. And
Yay, Tina.
she did a super job, especially this evening when we had a bit of a Christmas chaos.
Here, here.
Okay. And Tim, why don't you say goodnight to our fellow the people that have been with us this evening, and maybe recap the show a bit.
Oh my gosh!
Thank everybody.
I'm not sure that I can. It's been more like a stream of consciousness show tonight. Yeah.
Tim, you probably had too many cups of eggnog, right? You don't want to deal with it.
Oh my gosh! Well, I mean, considering all the fantastic guests we've had tonight, of course, Diane and Adam, and especially Admiral Robert Byrd.
Yeah, Admiral Byrd, one hell of a guy.
That's right. That's right.
Hey,
I mean,
Byrd.
and I have to.
He's running for president, you know.
I have to hand it to Tina to be able to bring him in on Skype. I mean, it's I don't think anybody else has managed to do
I'll
that.
send
ever.
you the bill for that one.
Oh, I can imagine.
It was amazing. It cut me out, but that was okay. I could hear him as if he were still among us.
Yeah, well, remember that when the CIA is knocking at my door.
Go to Tina. Tina's idea. I won't tell. You can torture me. No. Put that rag over my face. No. I'll tell you. I killed Lincoln. Mercury. I killed Mercury.
Well, it's been a fantastic show tonight, guys. We really appreciate you having us on. And Tina, what is coming up next on the KCOR Digital Network?
Yeah, coming up, it's our nonstop Christmas special with our "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," the KCOR Paranormal Twistway.
So
right, wow,
sounds good.
Stay tuned for that.
Like we did last summer. Let's twist again, twist, and time is here.
And my friend April has just showed up. So see you all next week, and happy holiday.
Buy my book.
You've been listening to Exploring the Bizarre with hosts Timothy Beckley and Tim Swartz. They're taking back the night by jetting non-stop across the cosmos in search of the truly bizarre and totally unexplained, with you as their co-pilot. Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. For more information on Exploring the Bizarre and hosts Timothy Beckley and Tim Swartz, check out their KCOR Digital Radio Network page. Follow their YouTube channel at MRUFO 1100. Exploring the Bizarre.